Yeah, it looks like it's working. Although the title may not be what we want it to be. Yeah, so here, I'll change the title. So it is live, just so you guys know.
I can't make them co-host, Adam.
Yeah, so here, I'll change the title. So it is live, just so you guys know. Let's see. Co-host. Hi, Maria. Hi, Ralph. We will make you guys co-hosts so that you can mute and unmute yourselves. Let's see, Dahlia, maybe what I'll do. And we are currently live on YouTube, just FYI. Probably start recording this. And we are recording. Hi, Mark. How you doing? You should be able to unmute yourself.
I'm good, Adam. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good.
And it looks like David Turpening, welcome. We have a public comment period toward the end of the session here of the meeting. So please bear with us as we step through the committee's business. Thanks for joining us, by the way. John, how you doing?
Sorry, I was muted. I'm doing well, Adam.
No
How are
worries.
you?
Good, thanks. Welcome.
There we go. Change the name.
Making me doubt myself. I was like, who's Sean? Looks like John Conway.
I take Irish language lessons, so that's why it says Sean.
So just so everybody's aware, we are currently, as you could see maybe in the window, we're live streaming as well as recording here, just so you guys are aware. Hi, Victoria. You should be able to unmute yourself if
There,
you're.
there we
All right,
go.
there you go.
I'll start my video in just a second. I just happened to spill water all over my desk, so I'm trying to take care of that.
I hope it's well away from any sensitive electronics.
Oh yes, just big piles of paper. So,
And Victoria, just so you know, we are live streaming, there's Bob,
Yep.
and recording as well, just so you're aware.
yep, perfect. Thank you.
Oh,
Hi, Bob, how you doing?
Sorry about that, Adam. I'm well. How are you?
No worries. Good, thank you.
Good.
Adam, can
Uh,
you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Ralph.
Hi.
How are you?
I had my headphone speakers on instead of my laptop. Sorry.
No worries. So, Bob, just so you're aware, we are live streaming this and recording. I think maybe, I mean, we're 2 minutes past. John, do you want to, I guess we're all set with the technology here. I think we have, I don't know, Jackie, if there was anybody else or John that were planning to join.
not that I know of. so-
Steve might be joining, but we certainly have a quorum of the committee at this point. So, John, as chair, if you'd like to kick off the meeting, I think that we certainly can do that.
All right. We'll start off this meeting of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee with a roll call. And just to test everybody's audio, when I call your name, if you could just raise your hand and say hello, that'd be great. Let's see who's here. Bob Lehman?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, good.
Great. Perfect. Thanks, John.
Ralph Viola?
I'm here.
Dave Becker? I don't see him. Victoria Manieri?
Here.
Steve Obermeyer? No. Guy Warner? Maria Barrington? Hi, Maria.
I'm here.
Very good. And Mark Iorio. Did I get that right?
Close enough. I'm here.
Thank you. All right. Jackie, I suppose I would ask you if you'd like to go ahead and get us started on the well, first of all, maybe we should go through the agenda here tonight for people who haven't seen it or may have questions. We're going to go through the project update just a little bit here, and then an overview of the public comments that we received at the November 4th public hearing, and a few that came in via mail and email since then. And then there's a discussion period. We hope to move forward on a vote on the comprehensive plan tonight. And then we'll discuss a little bit about the next steps. We've got a period listed for public comment here. I'm not sure what that's all about. I think officially we may be done with our public comments, but certainly willing to hear anything but anybody has to say as we close. So that is basically our game plan tonight. And as I say, we can start with the project update. And Jackie, I would ask you to help us out there.
Sure, absolutely, John. Thank you, and welcome everybody. It's great to see you. And this is a really important point of the process that this committee is in this evening. It's exciting. There's been a lot of work that this committee has done to get this draft comprehensive plan to this point. And tonight is the time frame within which you determine if this draft plan is ready to be advanced to the town board. We did receive some public comment during the public comment process, the formal public hearing, the written public comment period, as John had indicated. And we have reviewed those comments with town staff, with Dahlia and Adam, and we do have suggested modifications to address some of those comments. Many of those comments, however, did appear to be more related to what would be the next phase in this effort following adoption of the comprehensive plan, which would be the update of the zoning ordinance. And Andrew's going to walk through what the suggested modifications are for you all this evening. And should you determine that their modifications are appropriate for the draft plan, you would identify that this evening. Our team would then modify the draft plan. And should you vote this evening to forward the plan to the town board, it would be the document that reflects the modifications as discussed this evening. And so that's what we would do. So that is really the primary goal for this evening, is for this committee to discuss proposed modifications and come to agreement on those. And if you're comfortable, vote to forward the draft plan to the town board, which would then end your responsibility and your role in this process as committee members. We do hope that you would continue to be supportive of this as it goes through the town board process. And when we do get to the next steps this evening, we will outline a little bit of what that process is, that adoption process at the town board level, so everybody's familiar with that. That's the update as we have it right now. And with that, John, with your permission, I'd like to turn it over to Andrew to walk through the public comments received and some of the suggested modifications.
Great. As we do that, though, I just want to take a minute to just really thank people who took the time to come to the November 4th meeting and make comments, and those who submitted comments afterward. I think we're going to go over about 7 different groups of comments, and I thought all the comments were really, well thought out and totally worthwhile. So I'm very happy for those comments, and I thank the people who forwarded them. Great.
Thank you, John. So yeah, so as John and Jackie had both mentioned, and as you may recall, the September draft of the comprehensive plan update was made available to the public on September 25th in both hard copy form at Town Hall and the public library, as well as digitally on the town website. And then the formal public hearing was held on November 4th. And since that time, we received a total of 7 comments, 6 of them being from members of the public, through both email to the project email, as well as in person at the formal public hearing. One of those comments, or a series of comments, was also received from the Rensselaer County Planning Department. Those comments are primarily grammatical and doesn't change the content or the direction of the plan. So those comments from the county will be addressed. I am just going to go over briefly some of the modifications to the plan based on the comments we received. So there was a comment about the need to include the school system more in the plan, and so that will be addressed in section 3, placemaking. So we will include additional language about the school system and the importance of the school system in that section. The schools are also addressed in Appendix A, the community profile. The next comment that we will be addressing and making modifications for is a comment that was received via email and through the public hearing regarding the importance of buffering residential properties from commercial properties along Route 9 and 20 and Route 4. So we do have it. We will be making a modification there, particularly to the neighborhoods and housing section. And there we will be strengthening language to include protecting the character of residential neighborhoods and buffers between commercial mixed use and single family residential neighborhoods along Route 4 and Route 9 and 20. Those are the primary modifications based on the public comments. We do also want to mention, it occurred to us that the implementation priority worksheet that this committee had worked on back in September, we wanted to include that in the plan as well. That didn't make it into the September 2020 draft, so we do want to include that as an appendix. And we also updated the implementation section to reflect that worksheet, and just to make reference to it there. So those are the only other modifications to the plan. With that, I want to kind of open it up to the committee if anyone has any questions, comments, anything additional that they'd like to bring up at this point. Otherwise, we'll hand it back over to John.
Just to, since we were talking about the implementation plan being added, I think I noticed in the implementation plan, the recommendations in the implementation section are not sort of included in the implementation plan. They're not scheduled. Is that correct, or am I missing something?
Yes, John, I'll take that question. The intent for those handful of recommendations in the implementation section are that those happen immediately. Those are the immediate next steps for implementation of the comprehensive plan. That's what the intent is for those. And you will see some of those are ongoing, right? So some of those, such as the training for the land use boards, that's ongoing, but making sure that it's continuing to happen. For example, the establishment of a committee tasked with assisting to implement this plan is, an ongoing thing. Some of those are ongoing, but it's recommended that occur, or at least they be initiated in the near term. So that was the intent for that implementation. And if that was unclear, we can certainly clarify that with a little additional language in that section.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. I'm not sure I fully got the revisions that were made to the implementation section itself.
Okay.
Does it doesn't, did I miss it, or does it say that, these are going to be undertaken immediately, or
We will, I don't have that in front of me right now, John, but we will make sure if that is if this committee feels that will be more clear, we can add that language. Absolutely.
all right.
Jackie and John, I'm just looking at that section now. Forgive my dog's barking. Under the implementation action section, it does say, the following recommendations are priority actions to be completed immediately following the adoption of the plan. So maybe one way to address that is to just kind of crosswalk that to the table, add a sentence, and just establish that linkage.
Okay. Yeah, I see that now. Thank you.
Yep, we can do that.
We can do that. Yeah.
Okay, so are any other questions? All right, so with that, John, I will hand it back over to you to initiate the committee vote to forward the draft plan onto the town board.
Well, I think we still have a discussion period available here, and maybe we should just open it up in general. I want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with where we are on the plan. And I did circulate just a page of thoughts that I wrote down, and just to get started again. I noted that of the 7 groups of comments that we received, 5 of them really concerned zoning. And this was something that was always anticipated. I think going back to the RFP, when the town let that out, they were looking for help with the comprehensive plan to be sure, but there was, I think it was written so that there was an option for a revised zoning law or revisions to the zoning law, something like that. So it was always my understanding that this is kind of where we'd be. I'm kind of pleased that we have questions remaining with the zoning law. As a member of the zoning board of appeals, it was hard at times for me to be involved in some of these discussions, knowing that there were still many issues underlying what we were actually doing in terms of the planning we were doing that were going to come up later on. And I think a lot of the questions that we received about what sort of legal protections property owners are going to have, or how much latitude is going to be allowed for development as opposed to residential development. I think that's kind of, those are issues that are going to have to be, and really even today are answered through the zoning laws, so to a large extent. So that was my main concern with where we are on this. And I'm actually pretty pleased and happy with the way we are at this particular point in time.
I just have one quick question, more of a housekeeping item. All the those spelling and grammar errors that were brought up, have they been added have they been corrected in the draft that's on the website currently? Not yet.
No, it sounds like
Not yet, Ralph.
Okay.
But those corrections have been made on an internal draft that we have been, as we've noticed that, and based on the discussion this evening, if the board is comfortable, if the committee is comfortable with the suggested modifications that Andrew outlined, we will update that and make sure all the grammatical, spelling, all those kind of minor non-content related items are cleaned up, and it is as polished as it can be for the town board.
Okay. Yeah, and I was reading 103 pages this afternoon, and there were a few things that caught my eye in regards to that. One that comes to mind was the Ekman Park. You have it located at the wrong street. It's actually Grant Avenue instead of Ekman Place. And there were a couple other, so what I'll do is I'll just send that to, I'll just send a few of those comments to you tomorrow. I just want to make sure we had one more look at this. I really want to make sure that, you know, to the best of our ability, the spell, I know it's just like housekeeping, but the spelling and grammatical errors, I think, should be cleaned up before we send it to the town board. One more time.
Absolutely.
I know it takes, 3-4 eyes to catch every single issue. So you can read something 3 times and not catch it the 4th time you see it. So thank you.
I have a quick question regarding the Rensselaer County comments. They did make mention in the community profile section regarding higher education. And I know we highlight obviously the SUNY East Campus, which is located in town. And they made mention about obviously all the institutions of higher education really within the stone throw of the town. Is that something that we would consider adding here, or are we beyond that? I thought that was a good comment. You know, if I was moving to town and I was considering East Greenbush as a place to be, I would want to come to the comprehensive plan. I would go to the community profile and try to get a better sense of the community. And I think that's something that we may have, I don't know if it's relevant, but I think it's, even Hudson Valley is very close. If we wanted to highlight that, or some of the other higher education, SUNY Albany, St. Rose, Siena, all within a stone throw of East Greenbush.
Yes, Bob. Our intent was to add that and address that.
Okay. As I was going through that section today, a couple other things bounced out at me.
Sure.
Putting my
Absolutely.
emergency services hat on for a moment. We highlight police. We highlight the fire department section. I don't see anything in there for emergency medical services and the WF Bruin Rescue Squad. and they're a vital part. And you know, the town very much supports the rescue squad. I think it's important that we have a section in there for the ambulance as well. And then I
Absolutely.
think we also should highlight the fire section, that they're all volunteer organizations. So it's 100, you know, all 3 organizations run 100% volunteer organizations. I don't know. I think that would just a quick comment in there, but I think it's important.
Yep,
We can add that.
absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And to follow up on that, Bob, I think, Jackie, one of the things to note too is the, under Bruin is the provision that they provide, you know, basic as well as advanced life support services. That's
Yeah.
one of the, it's a fairly unique thing in Rensselaer County, especially as you get to the more rural parts of the town. It's a real asset here, and it contributes to, you know, safety and better health outcomes for those served there. So by Bruin.
One of my other concerns was I think it might help to have just a little bit more perspective on what a comprehensive plan is for people who are not familiar with it. Specifically in regard to, you know, the question that came up with the school board. You know, whereas we're looking at schools as an asset and trying to acknowledge them and all that, we cannot really plan for the school district. The school district is kind of an independent body, and what we're doing is, in many respects, a document for the town government, if you will, of East Greenbush. And I think the context also comes up in terms of the zoning law, the fact that we're not addressing those issues. And, you know, I think I like the way the plan includes a lot of the previous research and some of the planning studies that have gone before, and provides them as kind of appendices, but we don't include the zoning law. And I think there's a good reason for that. The law is the law and the plans are the plans, but, you know, it's sort of a relevant document as well that maybe we should just acknowledge in one sentence there or something somewhere, you know, just to provide a better context.
And John, if I might, I think the most appropriate location within the draft plan to do that is within the future land use map discussion. We make it a pretty strong point to say that future land use map is not a zoning map purposely, because the way the comprehensive plan works is that it sets the direction and the vision. And then, as you know, the zoning is the policy that ultimately is implementing that vision at a parcel basis, on a parcel basis. And so it's, I think that might be a good location. We can add a sentence explaining just what you did and that connection, making that a little stronger as to how the comprehensive plan influences the zoning code.
That'd be great. Yeah. Any other comments or questions, concerns? No? Hearing none, I suppose we should move on. So the next item we have is the vote on the recommended action. And I think we had some preliminary discussion on this, as well as to how we are going to transmit this to the board and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of a mind that I think we should just stick with the resolution and send them the plan as we promised we would do. And I think we should make ourselves available for the board meeting where they officially receive that. I intend to be there, certainly. So any other ideas or comments as to how we might do that?
I agree, and I'm in full support of that plan, John.
Great.
I'll make myself available as well, and we'll plan to be at that board meeting. And any other board meetings that have discussions regarding the plan to support our work that we've done for the last year and a half.
Yeah. Okay, I hope everyone has had a chance then to look at the draft resolution that was prepared for us. I think I'm generally one of these people who likes to keep the whereases at a minimum in these things, and I think you did a good job with that, certainly. But there is one that I think maybe it needs a little bit more and a bit more context. So I think in terms of the for me, I think it just sort of starts kind of in the middle of nowhere. We just all of a sudden have a committee, and I would add actually a whereas before that, acknowledging what the board has done. And I was just looking back, and I would steal the language right out of their resolution where they took care of the whole thing of setting up the committee and then nominating the first members. And they say, whereas the town of East Greenbush recognizes that the comprehensive plan provides an essential foundation for guiding future development and has demonstrated commitments to maintaining the comprehensive plan document to effectively guide development in East Greenbush. And whereas, and then I would go on with whereas the town of East Greenbush has appointed a steering committee and so forth and so on, just to give it a little more grounding and perspective. Also, I as we're doing this, I'm hesitant to label what we're forwarding either a draft or an update. In my view, this is the comprehensive plan. This is what we're recommending for a comprehensive plan. So I might use the term recommended comprehensive plan, but I don't think I would call this a draft insofar as it's the completion of our work. I mean, and I don't want it to sound like we're just, sort of dumping this into the lap of the town board. In effect, I think we've done as good a job as we could do in terms of getting it this far. So I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else or anybody has other opinions about that, but. All right. If everyone is comfortable with that, then we can move ahead with the resolution. We all set? Let's do that. I think as chairperson, I can actually make the resolution to move this forward. So I would resolve that whereas the town of East Greenbush recognizes the comprehensive plan provides an essential foundation for guiding future development and has demonstrated a commitment to maintaining the comprehensive plan document to effectively guide development in East Greenbush. And whereas the town of East Greenbush appointed the comprehensive plan steering committee to prepare a comprehensive plan for the town of East Greenbush on January 16th, 2019. And whereas the CPSC conducted research and analysis of existing conditions, future trends, and community needs. Whereas the CPSC has prepared a draft comprehensive plan involving the consideration of substantial public engagement, including an online community survey from June 7th to November 1, 2019, 2 public open houses on June 17th, 2009 and September 30th, 2019, and the stakeholder group meetings on September 17th and September 18th. And whereas the CPSC conducted a public hearing on November 4th, 2020 in accordance with town law and held written public comment period from September 25th, 2020 to November 13th, 2020. And whereas the CPSC has considered written and verbal comments and identified modifications to the September 20th comprehensive plan as noted, resolved that the CPSC is advancing and hereby does recommend the comprehensive plan to the town board for its consideration and potential adoption. Any discussions on that sort of language? I know I skipped over a few words and maybe added some in there, but we'll clean that up. You ready to go?
Sounds good.
All right. I'll call the roll then. Oh, that's the motion. We need a second.
I'll second that, John.
Ralph?
Viola? Yes.
Ralph Viola. Very good. Thank you. Call the roll now. Bob Lehman.
Aye. Yes, in favor.
Great. Ralph Viola.
Yes.
John Conway votes yes. Victoria Maneri.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, thank you. Maria Barrington
Yes.
and Mark Iorio.
Yes.
All right. I think we have, is that 6 votes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 yes votes, no abstentions, no negative votes, so the motion is carried. So I think that with that, I think we have some discussions on the next steps, and I think Jackie, you probably have the best perspective there if you'd like to help us out. Tell us what the next steps are.
Sure. Well, first of all, congratulations, everybody. Great job. A lot of work and time from this committee, and really appreciate the opportunity to be working with you over the past year and a half. It's been a pleasure on behalf of Andrew and I and the rest of our MJ team. We really do appreciate the opportunity and appreciate all of the insight that each of you has been able to bring to this process. And we look forward to continuing on work within the town. In terms of the next steps, John, you highlighted the initial next step. So after we make the modifications as discussed this evening to the draft plan, if this committee wants to take one last look at that, at the draft plan, we certainly can make that, or at the plan, sorry, John, at the comprehensive plan, we can make that available to you. But we will then work with Adam and Dahlia to advance the comprehensive plan with the modifications and the resolution that was just passed by this committee to the town board for its consideration. The town board, and we do anticipate at a meeting in December, will formally accept the comprehensive plan, and that initiates the adoption process for the town board. There are several steps involved in that adoption process, and those are laid out by town law, section 272A, as well as the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or SEQR. So the initiation of the adoption process will allow the town board to submit the comprehensive plan to the county planning board for its review under 239M. It will also allow the town board to initiate SEQR coordinated review. The adoption of a comprehensive plan is considered a type 1 action under SEQR, where coordinated review is required. So ultimately that means the town board will allow any potential involved agencies under SEQR to 30 days to provide any comments related to the plan. There must also be a public hearing at the town board level. So for those members of the public that might be joining us this evening, there will be another opportunity for public comment on the plan. And at that point, the town board will determine if they want to make any modifications to the plan or consider adoption of the plan as is after they go through all of these adoption steps. And so they will need to complete seeker, hold a public hearing, make sure that they get county planning board referrals, and then go through the formal adoption process. So that's ultimately what are the next steps. From a scheduling perspective, it really is entirely up to the town board how they want to be scheduling that. There are some timeframes associated with, as I mentioned, seeker and the county planning board referrals, but it generally can take 2 to 3 months for the adoption process. And those are the next steps.
Great.
I just have a quick question in regard to John's comments earlier about not calling it the draft. Would we want to change our resolution to take out the word draft in front of our comprehensive plan?
I tried to do it as I was reading through it, but I was just.
I think it's a good point. I think, we all spent a tremendous amount of time, with everybody's input, and I feel the same way as John. Is I think a draft makes it sound like we're really not finished. I think we've done a great job given the time restraints and given what we've gone through this last year. To me, I feel it's a plan also. So I'd like to see that the term draft stricken in that resolution if we could.
Yeah, I think it has been a long time, and we've done a lot of work, even more than we perhaps realize. I was looking at the resolutions today, going back over them, and actually the committee was appointed in January of 2019, which now seems like about 10 years ago, because we've gone through some things with the committee, with the unfortunate passing of our chairman, Bill Perkins, and then the pandemic hitting in 2020. But overall, like I say, I think we've done a really good job. I like the shape that the product is in now. And in that regard, I do want to thank Jackie and Andrew for their work. I don't know, we've been appointed by the town, and sometimes I feel like I'm maybe taking a little too much credit here, but we know who did the real work, and we appreciate their work on this. I think it really is a nice piece of work, with especially with the supporting documentation that they've assembled, including that online survey and some of the original material. Thank you. And I guess I would, I know we've been kind of one more revision, but I guess I would like to see if you have any revisions just before it goes to the board that I'd be happy to take another look at it.
We'd love to have another set of eyes. So yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, if the board members don't have any other comments at this time, I guess it says public comments, so we'll open it up. Anybody wants to comment on anything or make any suggestions? As I say, I think the comprehensive plan steering committee is officially finished with public comments in terms of on the record. But as Jackie noted, there will be other opportunities for public comment as the board takes up the review of this plan.
Well, I just figured I'd take a quick minute and say thank you, everyone, for all your work the past almost 2 years at this point. It's been a pleasure working and getting to meet everyone. Everyone has worked so hard, and Jackie and Andrew, the plan does look absolutely beautiful. I'm really, really thrilled with how it turned out.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure working with all of you as well.
Thank you. All right. I think our business here, at least tonight, is concluded. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
John, do you want to you want to see if, I'm not sure if David got unmuted here, that we have one member of the public, David Turpinning here. Let me, with your okay, we'll unmute David and see if he has any comments.
Well, certainly, yeah.
Cool.
First of all, I thought you would have had the public comment before you made the resolution. Am I not understanding something correctly, or?
It was my understanding that we were not going to really have public comment at all this evening. I was a little bit surprised to see it on the agenda, but as I say, we're not, not opposed to hearing, but I think our official period for taking public comment has ended on November 13th. As the steering committee.
Okay.
Yes, and if I could interject, David, the reason we put the public comment on was if there were questions about the next steps in the process. We thought that if there were questions, we'd want to be able to help address those.
Okay, I'll make one more comment, then I'll leave the conversation. I sent town board members an email, and I CC'd the comprehensive steering committee on there as well. And one last comment I made on that email was the fact that whatever decisions you make and what guidance you give the town, that is your legacy. So if things don't go exactly the way that will be a benefit to the town residents, there may be some repercussions in the future. So I have personal experience with all this stuff. I don't want to go into belabor this with any detail about it, but I understand that this will go into a changes in the zoning law, correct? And also zoning districts and things like that. Am I correct?
I think this will lead to a further discussion of the zoning law and possible updates or changes, recommendations.
And the zoning law is only as good as it's enforced. And currently the zoning laws have provisions for special use permits, and those special use permits are handed out like candy, all right? Also, there are certain groups of people in the town, developers, so forth and so on, that are able to get zoning laws changed or tweaked a little bit to their favor. I'm not sure how much the town residential population understands that. I've been attending a lot of board meetings. I've been trying to attend your meetings as well. And there is very little public interest in going to the meetings, which makes me concerned that there's been no other public input that I'm aware of since that survey was done and since the meetings were completed last year. And now since the pandemic is here, there is people that this is one of their least concerns. So as far as public participation is concerned, I think that has been very much lacking. And I think that might come back to haunt the town of East Greenbush. And I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dahlia, unless you see anybody else, I think we only had one member of the public here.
Yeah, there was a member by the name Luke
Yes.
coming in and out, but he left for a second time and hasn't come back. So I think we're through with public coming into the meeting.
All right. I think I was looking for a motion to adjourn. We're ready.
Moved.
Moved by Mr. Viola. Any seconds?
A second.
Second from Mark. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed?
I
Okay.
just want to say thank you as well for the opportunity to serve on the committee. It's enormously readable and easily understood document that, that there's a lot of work that has gone into it. And, thank you for the opportunity to serve in in fulfilling the absence of another committee member. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Maria. I'm sure, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to work more with you on this. I think your input could have really helped us, although as you say, it's a nice document as it is. And I think one of
It
the
is.
things I'm pleased about is how readable it is. And I think
It is.
Rensselaer County sent it in a comment to that effect as well. And of course, that in some ways raises a little bit of anxiety there, making a plan so easy to read. It would have been a little bit easier maybe to put some obfuscating planning language in there so that no one ever reads this. But I think this was a good way to go. And, I think Jackie and Andrew had a lot to do with that as well. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you. All right. I think we're all set then for tonight.
Wonderful.
I'm sure we'll be.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Thank you, Jackie.
Yes, happy
Likewise.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.